All right, everyone. Welcome to week 3. We're over halfway there, and we've got some really cool stuff to add in this week. I think this is my favorite week, just by the stuff that we're going to add. So, what we're going to be doing in these next couple steps, or really for this whole week, is we're going to be creating a physics interaction system where you'll be able to grab a physics object and drop it on a button that works based on physics, and use that to either make a platform move, or to open a door, or all this types of stuff. What we can do is start by, we need to create a physics crate prefab. Right now, I'm currently in my level 2 scene. If you're in level 2, we need to make sure we move back to our test scene. So let's go to our scenes folder and open up test scene. There we go. And then move inside of here. We're going to move to our prefabs folder here. And there is a props folder with this crate short object. That's going to be what we use as our physics crate, so we can drag that into the hierarchy to keep it at 0, 0. Once you see here, we do need to make a couple changes to this guy before we make our physics crate prefab. First, we can rename it to physics crate. And then we want to add a rigid body onto this guy here. Actually, what we want to do is add that rigid body and move this collider onto an empty object. And the reason for that is, just like our moving platforms, our pivot is actually off center. Our pivot is in the corner here, which can cause some problems for us later on when we set up our script to actually grab these physics objects. So what we want to do is create an empty object. And we're going to move that. We can actually do it this way. Let's create an empty object by right-clicking on the physics crate and hitting create empty. That's going to create it right on top of that pivot, just like the other one. But to ensure that we get center on this, since it's a box, is actually pretty easy. We can just set the position on the X value to 0.5, and that's going to put it in the center. Well, maybe not quite the center. We'll do 0.3. I think that should be pretty close. Yeah, we'll do 0.35, or 3.3 maybe. Yeah, 3.3. Okay, there we go. Got it there. So we'll do 0.33 for X, 0.33 for Y, and 0.33 for Z. And that's going to put it right there in the center. Now we're going to drag our empty object out here. We're going to rename this to physics crate. And rename physics crate to crate object. Sorry to make you have to jump around with it like that. Sometimes it's like that though. And then we're going to make the crate object a child of physics crate. Then we're going to actually copy our box collider component by selecting the 3 dots on the component and hitting copy component. And we're going to go to our physics crate and then select the 3 dots next to transform and hit paste component as new. And you'll notice that in the scene view it makes that off center. That's because our center is not at 0. So we're going to go to the X, Y, and Z components and set those all to 0. Finally, what we want to do is we want to go back to our create object and delete that box collider there, because we're no longer going to be using that, but instead this one. Then we want to add a component. We're going to add a rigid body to this guy. So we're going to say add component rigid body. We're going to leave everything as it is here. But we are going to tag this. So you may remember we had that in some of those scripts. We had that check for the box tag. So we're going to add that now by going to tags, hitting the plus button, typing tag, or not tag, sorry, adding box here, hitting save, and then going back to our physics crate and setting this to the box tag. Once we have all of that set up, we're going to go to our gameplay prefabs folder, and then we're just going to drag that physics crate right in to there. And once you got all of that, go ahead and save your scene. And on the next step, we'll start the script for that thing. 3, 2, 1. We do actually need to make one more adjustment to this physics crate before we move on to the next step. So let's select our physics crate prefab inside of our gameplay prefabs folder. Go to the layer dropdown, excuse me. And we're going to go to layer 10, and we're going to name this physics object, just like that. And then select our physics crate prefab once again, and then go to this layer dropdown and select physics object and hit yes, change children.